Heated rivalry. Heated rivalry. The gay hockey show. As far as I know, less hockey, more gay. That's what we're here for. Actually, I'm gonna read the books. I'm gonna read the books and watch the show. That's what we're here for. I'm gonna try the first 2 books, and watch the show once I read the first 2, and then we'll see if I'll continue this series. And if that, I'll just read all 5. I think there's a 6th one that's supposed to come out this year, but all 5, in this video. We'll see. But at least be 2 books and 6 hours of TV, I think. Do I know anything? No, I know, it's hockey. But it's not much hockey, and a lot of just 2 bros being bros. So that's very exciting. We love that. The whole internet loves it. I know one of them is Russian, and there is some Russian in the show. Hi. I know that the show is based off of mostly the 2nd book, but there's a little bit of the 1st book in it, and that's about it. That's all I know. I am going in blind. I'm gonna go in blind. Can't wait to watch it. My mom's middle-aged white guy boyfriend's account. I'm very excited. Very happy that he told me to watch The Pit to remind me that I have access to his account so I can watch the show. But first, we gotta read the books. Game Changers. I am currently reading it. I think I'm 16% in. First off, don't recommend the audiobook if you can. I would say read with your eyeballs instead of audio. It's not my favorite. So that's fine. It's one narrator, and sometimes for romances, a lot of times for romances, for books in general, that's fine. But in chapters, it will switch POVs, and he's not good. Like, he doesn't do a different voice for each one. Either one. It's just like the same exact voice and tone and everything. And so you can't really tell which POV it is until like 5 minutes into it or something like that. Like, I'm pretty far into like a POV, and then I go, oh wait, switch POVs? Okay, when did that happen? If I'm not following along, which was a thing happening last night, when I started it, yes. Book. It is fine. Otherwise, I did just read 2 chapters just as ebook instead, and I liked it more that way. So I recommend that way if you can get it that way with your eyeballs. Though I know right now that's like essentially impossible. I know my library has 74 copies, and it's like over 1,700 days to get a copy. Thankfully, it's on Hoopla. Like, I don't know. I may have had to buy it to do this, but which if you know anything about me, I generally don't like hockey romances, so I was worried about that. But I do generally like sports romances that are light on the sport and heavy on the just 2 bros being bros type thing, right? Yes. Are you gonna watch the gay hockey show with me? If I make popcorn, will you sit with me and watch it? Yeah. Anyways, the first one is Game Changers. I should actually say the name of the book. The first one's Game Changers, and it is about Kip, and I'm really bad at names. I think his name's Simon or something like that. Simon's a hockey player. He's like a big deal hockey player. Blah 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 blah. Kip is barista at a juice place, but also a server for like charity events type thing. Working part-time jobs. Oh, still living with his parents at 25. Got you beat there, Kip. I got you beat there. I mean, it makes sense because it's New York City. Trying to live off of a part-time salary in New York City. Yeah, that's not gonna work out. In general. And he has a degree in history, something. He wants to work in museums of some kind. Anyways, the book starts with Simon, I hope that's his name, going to the juice bar, getting a random juice. Kip not recognizing him and flirting with him. And then this broke Simon's losing streak. So he, sports people are into traditions and whatnot. And so he's like, oh, I need to get a juice every morning now of games. And so he does that at home games, and he continues to win, and he continues to flirt with Kip. And then he has a bunch of away games. So there's like 3 weeks where they're not seeing each other. And the first day he's back, he is at a children's hospital charity event that Kip happens to be a server at. They talk a little bit. They flirt. There was a part where Simon gave him hockey tickets to his own seats and whatnot, so that was like nice of him and whatnot. So he's like trying to be like, there's no way this hockey player's gay, and it turns out this hockey player is gay. He's just very much in the closet. I can see what's gonna happen here. Listen, I can see. I don't have to be a genius. I can already see this because they at the charity event they start talking more after the party. They're both hungry, so Simon's like, hey, let's go out to this burger place I know nearby that's open. They get burgers. Simon makes it very obvious that he's down bad, that he's into men, right? But he also makes it obvious that he can't be out in public type thing. They go back to his place, and it's just a chapter of just pure smut. Just pure smut. That's what I ended off on. They did it, and then he asked Kip to stay the night, and then where I'm at, the alarm's going off in the morning, right? So I can see big brain thoughts. AKA, I bet she's read a lot of queer romances, a lot of queer sports romances. There's all around. That what's gonna happen is that eventually Kip's gonna feel underappreciated. That's not the right word, but from having to be in the closet, like he's not specifically in the closet himself, but their relationship has to be in the closet, right? And so that's going to affect their relationship. Probably going to cause a few fights. And the only thing, the one plot point I know from the show is that the two of them kiss on the ice, and then that makes Shane and I want to say Ivan, but I feel like that's wrong for the Russian guy's name, who are the guys from the Heated Rivalry, the second book, and the main ones for the show. Go, wait, what? We can be out and right? So I assume he does like a public like, hey, we're a thing type thing. That's what happens near the end of the book. I'm assuming. I'm just saying, if it is, I've already read that in my favorite hockey book, my favorite hockey romance. Check please. It's a graphic novel series. I love it. It's gay. And there was a third one announced. I think because of the popularity of the show, she was able to get a deal for a third book. So I am excited about this. I love how it's one queer romance that is really popular and everybody's loving. And it's just able to be gay. Just people being gay. That's it. That's the whole show. They're being gay. The end. And also it's giving more opportunity for gay stories, queer stories in general, especially queer hockey stories. Like Check Please was never that popular, but now because of this, people are looking for more queer hockey books, and then because of that, she's able to publish another book, and I love that. That's my favorite part of this whole thing. Anyways, I'm gonna go finish Game Changers at some point soon. Because I gotta stop watching my hyperfixation show right now, but that's fine. It also would mean I'd have to stand up, and there's something in my lap. I don't know if you can tell that there's something in my lap. I don't know. Hello, hi. It has taken a lot longer than planned, both in days, but also today in general. So, and I'm streaming, so I can't film at my desk because the computer's too loud, and I can't film in the living room because the sun went out and there's no proper lighting in there. And then day-wise, okay, in my defense, I did plan to finish Game Changers like 4 days ago, but then I got oil burn all over my hand. Most importantly, this finger. Hilariously, you can't really see it anymore. The redness and swelling have gone down a lot. It's just, you know, when a burn like scabs over, that type of thing going on. Right over my eczema. My active eczema. Anyways, Bella's here again. You just really want to be in this video, don't you? Where I talk about Game Changers, which I have finished. The day that this happened, I was like, it would take me 2 hours maybe to finish the book, and I planned to after dinner, and then making dinner this happened. I went, never mind, I give up. I'm done for the day. I'm just gonna go watch my hyperfixation show, which is currently 911. Don't talk to me. Goodbye. New things have happened. I learned that the Russian character's name is Ilya. He may be bisexual. I have seen a grand total of like 2 clips from the show. Thanks to Dan and Phil now watching it. Everybody's posting videos about it, right? And Dan and Phil have watched it now, which is so funny to me, right? The 2 clips I've seen is them post heavy workout, sitting on the ground facing each other, thighs out, just spread so wide, handing each other water bottle back and forth as their hands touch, and then one frame of them both taking showers in the locker room, I assume, together or at the same time, and it's both their naked backs, and you can see some cheeks. You see a lot of cheeks apparently, and they're on opposite ends of the frame, and that's all I've seen of the show at this point. I really need to read the next one ASAP. Like, if I didn't have a library book that's due at 1 p.m. tomorrow, so I gotta read another book before I can do that because it's manga, but if I didn't have to do that, I would go start Heated Rivalry, which is very hard for me to say for some reason. Am I gonna watch me make the intro part, just me try and pronounce it or say it properly for like a solid minute there? Listen, that was the thing that was happening in the other room the last time I filmed. Anyways, that's all I've seen of it, and I want to read it ASAP, right? So that I can watch it, because I want to be part of the community. But also, I somehow have not spoiled anything for myself. The only thing I spoiled for myself was that Kip and Scott, which are the ones from Game Changers, apparently these two take place during the same time. Well, Heated Rivalry takes place during a larger amount of time, apparently. It's very slow burn, is what I've heard. It takes place over a bunch of time, and Game Changers is very fast. It's very fast. It's like 2 months, 3 months maybe, max, right? But, I did get spoiled that Scott and Kip kiss on the ice at the playoffs that they win. And then, that makes Shane and Ilya go, oh, wait a second, you can do that? That's the only other thing I got spoiled, which was predictable. I guessed that was going to happen about halfway through the book. Everything that I guessed was going to happen in it happened. There was the whole aspect where Kip, is not a multimillionaire, right? And so there's like a point where for his birthday, Scott gives him $50,000 to pay off his student loans, and he goes, he turns him down? In this economy, I know this came out in 2018, but in this economy, girl, I so fast would accept, I know I shouldn't want to take your money because that makes me look bad, and that I'm with you just for your money. And I'm just saying, in this economy, buy me a dozen eggs and I'll marry you. Like, how's your paw Allie's doing? You doing, Beto? Okay. Anyways, so Scott's like very rich, and because of this, like, he is an orphan. His mother worked a lot to make sure that he could play hockey, right? Because it's not a cheap sport. No sports are cheap, really. But so that he could play, right? And so he grew up poor. Now he has all this money, but nobody to spend it on. Kip's there, working his normal job at the juice place, but also other servicing jobs. I think I mentioned that last time because they were both gonna be at the same party unknowingly. Anyways, and now, and now, so like he now works at a gay club and is getting his master's degree and all this stuff so that he can have his dream job. But it's a lot of like kept not feeling worthy because his boyfriend's a multimillionaire and he's 26 still living in his parents' place in New York City. Understandable. I'm 27 and I'm doing that. Shut the fuck up, Kip. Bye. Anyways, and he can't get his dream museum job because he doesn't have a master's degree, and he's not sure if he's gonna like get accepted to any schools he's applying for and all this stuff. I expected the whole Kip aspect of him feeling like he's being forced into the closet because his boyfriend's in the closet and a public figure, so he can't like go anywhere. It's like the one time where Scott tried to take him out on a date. I really hope his name actually is Scott. I swear to God. And it takes him out on a date to a museum, the Met, and the whole time he's being very awkward, and then people start asking, recognizing him and taking photos of him, and it's yeah, it's so Kip's like I get it, but one, that's why you don't date guys who are in the closet, right? And two, and you know this, and two, yeah, that's predictable. It's pretty predictable. Anyways, and then he makes a plan to finally come out to everybody, and then he does by kissing his boyfriend on the ice. Listen, I learned yesterday, and this is a much better version of this, that book in 911. This is my hyperfixation show. Nobody can stop me. I have issues. Anyways, I heard himbo, bisexual man, and I ran so fast watching that show, and I can't stop watching it. It's hilarious. I love how bad it is at times. Anyways, apparently everybody learns that he's bisexual, the people that he hasn't already told, because his boyfriend was just doing firefighter things and was covered in sweat, so he kills his boyfriend who's covered in sweat so that his face also has sweat on it. That's a better version of that. Okay, hear me out. I haven't even seen it. I know that happens, and that's a much better version of that. Predictable, mid. Most of the book was just them having sex bunch, which is why I think he did Rivalry so difficult for me to say. I think I'll like it more because one, they're on opposite teams. It's enemies to lovers in this aspect, right? Or rivals to lovers. Hey, maybe that's why it's called that. Anyways, it's that whole aspect which I prefer over what Game Changer was. But also it's slow burn, right? It's got that whole aspect. But also, I was looking at the synopsis of all the other ones. I don't think I will read the rest of them, but I will if I like it enough. We'll read book 6 and book 7 when it comes out, because book 6 is Ilya and Shane some more, with Shane still wanting to be in the closet and Ilya post everything that happened in Game Changer being like, wait a second, what if we, right? And then the new one that's supposed to come out this year is post all that, them being out, right? Which I assume is seasons 2 and 3 of the show. Anyways, if I like enough, will continue those two, but I don't think, like, the rest of the series is not my vibe. Hockey romances already aren't my vibe, right? And I have a different gay hockey romance series I like more that I'd much rather reread than read those ones. And for gay romances in general, I have another series, or sports romances, I have another series that I prefer. So, like, all this stuff. Anyways, I just brought the ebook, so that's that. So, yay, I'm going to go, what time is it? Oh, it's your dinner time. Okay, I'm gonna go give them dinner. Yeah, it's dinner time. I'm gonna go give dogs dinner, and I'm going to make myself dinner. And then play video games. I'm gonna have to read manga. Oh shit, Bella. There's not enough time in this day. Anyways, that's that. Game Changers, 3 stars. Did I mention that? I'm giving it 3 stars. It was fine. It was predictable, and it was a lot of sex. So much sex. The end. Goodbye. I'll update you when I get to some point in some feelings about Rivalry. Oh, hi, I call this look, it's not my dinner being in frame. Nobody better eat it. I'm watching both of you. I call this look, it's like, I haven't checked the time since the sun's gone down, but it's probably below 0. It was 0 when I woke up this morning at 9, so. Anyways, the point of me saying all this is that, I finished part 1 of Heated Rivalry, and, oh, I get it. If the show is anything like this, oh yeah, okay, I get it now. Yeah, no, there's literally no point of me reading the first one, and it wasn't that good. This one, great. Also, the audiobook narrator is the same guy, and I was worried. For some reason, he does like a weird voice for some characters, usually Kip in the first one. And so I was worried he's gonna do it with Ilya in this one, because he's the Russian one, right? But he didn't. And so, because I has like 10 times better, like he does it occasionally for like coaches or whatnot, but that's like fine, it's whatever. It's like a very clearly fake, very masculine accent he puts on, and so like it makes sense for like coaches or other characters like that are going to be in for like 5 sentences in a chapter, and then you won't see again for multiple more chapters type thing. But when it's one of the 2 main love interests, and you have to hear that during a smexy scene, it's not entertaining. It's not a good time. But yeah, it is. He does a better job in this one. Okay, there's that. I have decided. I think it's called The Long Game. Is the second one about Shane and Ilya. And then there's supposed to be a 3rd one about them that comes out this year. I don't know if I brought this up earlier. I may have. I did research. And the second one about them is like them after post this book, trying to be a couple, as one of them, I think Ilya wants to come out, and Shane is scared to post everything that happens in book 1 with Kip and Scott being very public, and whatnot. Like, it's very clear in this one, very early on, that this is prior to that, because at one point in the very, very, very beginning of everything between the two of them, it's, I think, Shane's POV, in which he's thinking about how the first person to ever come out in the NHL will be a big deal, and he doesn't, like, he respects whoever that's going to be, but he doesn't begrudge him, because that's going to be hard, and all that stuff. So it's quickly realizing that it's prior to the first book, right, is when this takes place. And then the third one about them that comes out this year is a post, like, many, many years down the line, right? And I assume that's going to be season 3. I don't know. Anyways, imagine it was literally the shocked Pikachu face, in the prologue when they're banging. They're banging the prologue, and I went, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, no, the prologue is, like, many years into their relationship, this long distance, whenever they're competing in the same town or city, or if Ilya's team happens to be fighting on the Montreal area, then they get together and, right, and that's fun. So it's like takes place years after that. They clearly, like, the book starts technically after that, after the prologue. They're like 18 or 19 years old. Like, seriously, like, anyways, I made a funny joke. Also, I love how the 2 scenes I know for the fucking show, technically 3 if you count Kip and Scott kiss, whatever, but the shower scene and the water bottle scene happened in, like, the 2nd chapter, maybe the 1st, so fast. Oh yes, my very funny quote. I was like maybe a chapter into this book, okay? What I lovingly said, my blister from the bird on my fingers has popped and is now peeling, and that feels great. Anyways, I said, suddenly I feel joy as I read these 2 men hate bang. Because yeah, it's essentially they are always pitted against each other because they're the only ones of their caliber and they're around the same age, so it makes sense for everyone to constantly, like, put them against each other. And then when they're both drafted, they're drafted to arch nemesis teams, right? And then they shower, and then Ilya's like, oh, get rid of this. Okay, I can work with this. And there's a lot of Ilya smoking, and I can see how, like, I've seen photos of the actor who plays Ilya smoking, and so I can see, like, smoking's bad for you, but also. Anyways, so that's the thing. Shane's dealing with a lot of the gay panic, where he's only been with women before, and they literally went all the way for the first time. That's how part 1 ends. Hilarious. And so he's dealing with, like, the gay panic right now, as Ilya's very confident in his sexuality, and there's also the fact that where apparently he normally bottoms, and so he's like, maybe I'm not masculine enough, because he's only 5'10". Also doesn't help that, like, because he's Asian, or half Asian, he doesn't have body hair or anything like that, so that's, like, a whole aspect, and so he's not your typical view of masculinity, while Ilya is he's dealing with toxic masculinity and gay panic at the same time. Meanwhile, Ilya's dealing with his own family issues, and he's jealous of the fact that Shane is close with his family, and that's it. That's all that's happened so far. I wasn't going to update you tonight. I was going to update you first thing tomorrow morning with however far I get today, and then finish it tomorrow when I get deep clean, because I have an urge to deep clean, and then I'm going to watch at least the first 3 episodes tomorrow night. Like, this all happened very fast. I was not planning to read this yet. I was expecting that to happen in, like, a week's time, but a girl remembered hearing about how the actor who plays Ilya isn't Russian, right? And so I wanted to hear his normal accent, because I assumed that he was from some European country, right? Because that's generally, if an actor is doing an accent other than their own, they are usually from England or Scotland, right? And so possibly Irish, but it's usually those 2. And so I was expecting to be British, and then I load up a random interview with the two of them just to hear his accent, to learn that he's American. And then now my whole entire YouTube homepage is just Rivalry interviews, and I want to watch them, but to watch them I have to watch the show, and to watch the show I have to read the book. And then I started to read the book, and it's actually really good. I'm having a great time. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat my dinner. My hamburger's just sitting there cooling, and I got broccoli. They're not cooked though. I was gonna cook them, but I prefer raw broccoli. Anyways, that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm just gonna read this book all night long. In the end, ignore my coffee mug. It's barely after 2 p.m. Okay. If you hear my computer, it's because I'm playing Planet Crafter. I'm playing Planet Crafter again. This is my 3rd time. While I was listening to it, great experience, let me tell you, all around. Because I was at the point where I was at the end of the planet I was on, so I was, like, just sitting there waiting for the final, like, levels of completion, blah blah blah, in order to leave the planet. But I built everything I would need to do that. I just had to wait, so I was just sitting there listening to the audiobook. Good shit. I just downloaded The Long Game, which is a sequel to this one, direct sequel to this one, and I learned the next one about them doesn't come out until September. I gotta wait so long. Anyways, I finished it. I got to 48% when I went to I switched to another book last night before bed. Blah blah blah. So you know, a good chunk of it accidentally. And I don't know what to say. It's good. Rating wise, honestly, I'm contemplating lowering my rating of Game Changer. I may go do that right now and lowering it to 2.5. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna do that right now, actually. Shush! You're so loud. Oh my god. Where's Game Changer right there? 2.5. I don't know what to say. It's a good book. There's a lot of, it's, okay, I do know what to say. And here's the fun thing. I'm gonna compare it to one of my favorite gay romances ever. So, actually, I may say it is my favorite gay romance ever. Because it may be the only one I've rated 5 stars. Wild. This is the one I'm comparing it to. If you like historical romance and want somewhat similar to their dynamic, it's good shit. It's good shit. One of them is there's a lot of like dealing with their own personal family drama. There's like not really a comparative type thing. But it is enemies to lovers. Not to the level of Heated Rivalry. That's what first positive is that because of buzzwords and enemies to lovers being one of the most popular tropes, enemies to lovers is said a lot of the time, and I think this one they literally call themselves rivals to lovers in it. And that is accurate, but also so is enemies to lovers because they do hate each other. They do have a strong animosity, like to the point where the public seriously thinks that Shane hates Illa. Illa literally just finished the book. Seriously, me. Like they think they actually hate each other. And so at the end of the book, when they have admitted their feelings for each other and they're making long-term plans to make it so the public would be understanding of why they're seen together so much, by doing all this charity work and whatnot together. That's their excuse for hanging out so much. And they're more than just hanging out, right? That whole, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's they have to blatantly say, like, everyone thought they were enemies, but they're not actually enemies, and all this stuff, and whatnot. Anyways, this similar dynamic kind of, this is, I think, the only gay romance I've rated 5 stars, which is the only reason I'm rating Heated Rivalry 4.5 instead of 5 is because it's not quite the same level. It's not quite the same level as this one for me, but I do love it. Things I love that are in both of them. Literally, the way I have to think about it is a comp for, like, one of my favorite gay romances. My favorite gay romance, possibly my favorite historical romance as well. Definitely the top 2 in that. There may be a test there before it really flops between the 2 of them. Which one's my favorite historical romance ever? Anyways, there is the whole entire internal dilemma. In this one, they're both secure in their homosexuality, right? They both know they're gay and whatnot, but they're also like having to hide. Mostly for it's the fact that if he were to come out, he wouldn't be able to go back to Russia. And then things happen in the book that make it so he doesn't want to go back to Russia. He's like, no, I'm good, never going back there. He also was like, maybe someday I could marry an American or Canadian, cough, cough, Shane, to have my citizenship. Right, like that's a whole aspect. Shane's family is accepting. They don't mind. They don't care. He has friends who know and don't care. Right, like he's out to a few of his teammates by the end of the book. All that fun stuff. But there's like the public eye on him. He's very anxious about that, which is very similar. Listen, the comps is Gareth in this is Shade and Joss is Ilya, which I love for me. Anyways, there's the whole entire dynamic where they both are into each other sexually, but emotionally, one of them, like Shane, really thinks that Ilya doesn't like him because he's always antagonistic towards like everybody. That's like just how he is. And so there's that whole aspect, and so he doesn't think he likes him. And then the working out scene, and then they see each other's butts, and then another on knees. Anyways, so like there's that whole aspect. There's the internal battles. I'm not wording this well. I know this. I just know that it's good, and it does a lot of things I really love in this book, in Heated Rivalry as well. Not as good as this one, but like definitely enough for me to love it and give it 4.5 stars, which is really a shock. Really a shock. When I don't like hockey romances too. I didn't like the first one. My recommendation: skip Game Changer. It's absolutely pointless. It is around 70%, 75 maybe. When the Scott and Kip kiss happen. At the end of Game Changer, around 68 to 70% in this one. I didn't look at my phone exactly when it happened, but I remember going, it happens in Heated Rivalry, and literally nothing changes by you knowing it's gonna happen beforehand, right? Literally, I get like a 5-second head start in knowledge that that's what's about to happen. They're about to freak the fuck out. Like, cool, thanks. Though I did find it really funny being inside of Scott's head for like 400 pages almost. And about actually exactly 400 pages being inside Scott's head, and how big of a deal getting the cup was for him, and all this stuff. And and then in this one, the whole time, Ilya and Shane are like, calling him an old man, and they hate the fact that he won because they don't like the fact that he won. And then he goes and kisses a man publicly, and they're like, "Wait a second, we have to respect him." No, that part was funny. That part was funny. Having the knowledge of both, but I think that'd just still be funny. Just having read Kitty Rivalry. Anyways, I loved it for Professors. I wasn't gonna update you again until I start watching the show. Should I check to make sure that I'm signed into HBO on the TV? Yes. I kind of want to watch the show right now. This is the issue, but I plan to wait because I have a plan. I'm gonna stick by my plan. I'm gonna try to watch 3 episodes tonight. I will update you with like a minute clip each episode. I imagine a lot of it will be me squeaking and screaming because, anyways, it was a great book. They're like 25, 26 by the end of the book, and they just turned 19. One of them just turned 19 in the beginning of the book. So this is like a whole entire book takes place over like 6, 7 years. And that's wild. Anyways, for Professors, I loved it. I don't know what else to say. I'm gonna go. And I will update you when I watch the show. Our options here are limited, so you gotta see this. And also this, because I made pizza. Can't have any. I'm gonna put some behind. This is half of it. I already burnt my tongue. A piece of crust fell off, and I stupidly put it in my mouth. With the fact that it just came out of a 475-degree oven, I want to set it down. But there are bees. This is really one beast. The other beast is just licking my foot right now. Hi. Yes, I'm about to watch the show. I wanted to talk more about the book because there was, I updated moments after I finished the book instead of waiting like I normally do. And so more thoughts and opinions secured in brain, including but not limited to the book itself, shorter than the first one. Game Changer was 300, or no, it was 400. We talked about it. It was 400, and it was about 10-ish hours. This one was about 370 pages and 9.5 hours, right? I already mentioned how the audiobook narrator did a better job. That's gonna be interesting about the long game because it does after book 3 switch to narrator, so that's gonna be interesting. But he did a better job in this one, so that may have helped the experience. But also, yes, do not hit the stand. Is it like expected? Like, yes, because it is a book that takes over a long period of time, right? In which pretty early on, they're already bang-a-langing. And then over a period of years upon years, it is them slowly creating an emotional bond on top of this sexual chemistry. And that's what their whole entire relationship is based off of. And so, like, was it predictable that Ilya was gonna, like, fall in love and then not want to say that he's in love with him because of this reason, and all that stuff? And then Shane being more secure, despite the fact that Shane started out as the most insecure of the two of them, because he'd never been with a man before, unlike Ilya, but he hadn't clocked the fact that he's himself is gay yet. And so, because of his relationship with Ilya, he experimented both with women. One named Rose, and I just saw that episode 4 is titled Rose. Love that for me. But had a brief relationship with a woman, and then had a relationship with other men and realized he's gay, and so was more secure in his sexuality, but also his feelings because of the whole relationship with Ilya. This is why I compared it to my favorite gay romance ever, because that's like a whole thing where because of the relationship they both grow outside of the relationship, and then decide to come together and be together, which is also a thing in this. Right? Like, all this was expected, which was like my main complaint about Game Changer, right? That it was like very cliche, very boring, right? Except one, the fact that it was 90% sex scenes, that's inaccurate, but the fact that it was very much sex scenes makes sense for this relationship, right? But also, I didn't mind because I was having a good fucking time. Also, I prefer enemies to lovers over, what even would be the trope of Game Changer? I don't know. So that's a whole thing, right? Also, there's the insta-lovey of it all. Game Changer, I didn't bring this up, but it's like they're together for a month, like before halfway through the book. Like, pretty early on, right? They're saying I love you. This one, it is not until near the end of the book, right? Like, it is past Scott and Kip kiss in this one that Ilya and Shane say I love you, like much later, right? So it's like 9 years in the making before they say I love you. And then once they decide to do this for realsies, this time around, it's them deciding choosing each other, despite everything else around them, right? Also the aspect that both of them are hockey players, and they're both the best players. There's like this whole aspect where Shane, part of the reason why he both hates and loves playing against Ilya is because Ilya is the only person he's played against in a long time that actually challenges him, right? There's this whole aspect where it's like an all-stars game where they're, it's like the first time ever that they could be on the same team and they're working together. And that whole aspect is like, really exciting. And you can like see how well they work together, and how well they understand each other in this one thing that is like a majority of their lives, a big important part of their lives, right? And so, because Kip wasn't a hockey player, like he watched hockey occasionally beforehand, but like he wasn't a hockey player, so he couldn't understand, but like they both understand the other one in this aspect in a way nobody else could. Like, even Ilya has a Russian girl, I think she's like born in America, but her father is Russian, is like considered Russian royalty or mob or something like that, right? It's not explained much, but he occasionally sleeps with her from time to time, and she knows a lot about hockey, like even more than him sometimes, is how it's described. And they don't have like this bond. Like, he likes talking hockey with her, but like they don't have the same level of bond in the whole thing. And I think that's also another reason why this one's better, is because all these different aspects of their dynamic is explained much better. It's not just like them having sex and then I love you. It's like, yeah, they're having a lot of sex, but like their personalities, the reasons why all this is so hard for them, the pining that comes from all of this is much better in this one. Like every side character has a purpose, right? Like I already brought up the two female characters that are around them, right? But also there's like Shane's best friend is happily married and has kids, right? And so it's him dealing with the fact that like, is that what he wants in his future? And seeing that possibility for himself, possibly with Ilya, like that's a whole aspect. All that fun stuff. Anyways, me like Wookie. Guess who had then technical difficulties because she realized when she turned on her Apple TV device thingamajiggy that it's a really old version, so it doesn't have HBO. So instead, what happened is I got out my dinky, crappy computer, my laptop that my sister usually uses when she's streaming. That's like the only thing it's used for the past year. I pulled that out and I signed in on that, and then HDMI'd it to the TV, so I can watch it on the TV over there. I'm gonna watch the first 3 episodes at least. I can see, like, I have it up right now, and I can see Ilya smoking in a very clear no smoking zone. Yeah, that's like chapter 2 or something. I have pizza. I have another 2 slices if I want to eat it. It is cheddar? What? I combined the 2 cheeses. Cheddar and feta cheese and pepperoni. Perfect time to make pizza actually, because I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but whenever I have pepperoni, I can never like properly zip the bag back up. Like it takes 16 million years of effort to open up the bag of pepperoni, and then the Ziploc aspect doesn't like work and doesn't reclose, and so it was just drying out, and it was turning fun colors. I say that it was just turning white, it was drying out, and that's not the issue anymore since I cooked it, so I'm not worried about it. But there was a perfect amount to completely cover the pizza and then each give the dogs a piece. So we have that, we have water. I made myself a gin martini. It does have 1 olive in it. I've had an olive in a martini except for one time that one my mother made, so it was so much olive. So we'll see. I have that. Oh, and then I have for dessert. My mom bought me these the other night, and hear me out. You're fucking disgusted. The frosting is like a good chunk, like the good chunk of the thickness, and then it's less frosting, more fondant. And if you know anything about sweet treats, fondant tastes disgusting. And so it's just like very dense store-bought brownie with fondant on top, and it's gross, and I kind of don't like them. And she said it was okay if I ate them all because she would buy me more for Valentine's Day itself. But I kind of don't want her to. Like, we just gotta lie to her and tell her I haven't eaten any of them. I guess. Because I kind of suck. Anyways, I have these to have for dessert. Bella's gonna end up on here in like 5 seconds. The dogs have been walked, so I don't need to worry about that. Everything's set. I want to watch a show, so I am going to stop recording, stand up, and hit play. So I will talk to you with my thoughts and opinions after episode 1. I can't wait to see their butts. That's like the only thing I know about this episode. the water bottle passing and the butts. I thought some of that was going to be in episode 2, but that was very early on. That was very, very early on in the book, so I'm going to guess that's this episode. I'm going to go watch episode 1, Rookies. Hey, I managed to get the last of the corner in this time. I've taken like 5 musical sips, and I've eaten 3 out of 4 slices, and I've watched a whole episode. When the butts happened, I may have audibly screamed and covered Bella's eyes. Things, thoughts, opinions, sound design? Whoever did that? Oh yeah, needs a raise. Other things, I think I brought up, maybe I may not have brought up in the intro or something like that, about how I am actively learning Russian. So I thought watching this would be interesting because I assumed Ilya was going to be speaking Russian in the show. He does in the book, but like, it's just essentially him saying, like, it's in English, but he's saying it in Russian, or it just is, Ilya says something in Russian, right? And so there's like one specific scene that's going to be later on that I'm interested to see what they do with, because they have free reign. Literally the only thing you know is that at the end, he does admit to Shane that he's falling in love with him, but in Russian, right? And so I was wondering if it was going to actually be Russian, especially since I knew the actor wasn't Russian. And let me tell you, I don't know about 100% of it, but some of it is definitely Russian words that I recognize, and that was fun. As somebody who's been learning Russian for like a year now and is still a baby at it. Hi, the pizza's really good. We talked about the screaming with the butts. Every steamy scene, every time they were in a hotel room together, I may have screeched and then covered Bella's eyes. The episode ends with them kissing on a rooftop in public, right? And it's a very charged kiss. And I told Bella, I need to cover your eyes. This is too much for your innocent eyes. And then I said, it's too much for my not innocent eyes. Listen, I read the book like less than 24 hours ago. I started it. And yet still, actually probably pretty close to 24 hours ago, I started it. And still, I am sitting here, shocked, gobsmacked, freaking the fuck out. Also, another thing I appreciate, adaptation-wise, this is clearly an adaptation where somebody in charge, I don't know who is the creator, some director, producer, the writers themselves, somebody definitely read the book, because, For example, there's like multiple times where things happen, and I'm like, with me knowledge having read the book is like, oh, or they switch the timeline a little bit, right? Where like the same things are happening, they're in just like slightly different order or slightly different times, right? Uh, and so it's cleaner for show purposes, and so that's like a whole thing. But also, my most evident example of this is on the same rooftop scene, right? When Shane and goes up there, Ilia's already like on the rooftop looking over the edge, right? And Shade makes a joke about jumping over, right, because he just won the award, and that doesn't mean Ilia should jump. Ha ha ha! That's so funny. Except I, as a person who's read the book, knows it's described as how Ilia described how his mother died. Is she died accidentally by accidentally taking a bottle of pills. So clearly, whoever wrote that part or added that part in knew. And okay, that only hurt a little bit. Anyways, I saw so much man butt and thigh and heard a lot of second noises. Somebody here is traumatized at its speech. She doesn't understand what's happening. Okay. She likes watching shows where things explode. Her favorite show is Battlestar Galactica because spaceships explode in dark space, and she finds that very fun. So she doesn't understand. She doesn't understand. I do understand, and I'm sitting here traumatized. She's traumatized by me not feeding her pizza. I did give her pizza crust already. Anyways, episode 1's done. Oh, another thing I wanted to bring up that I appreciated. I saw it and I laughed. There's like a whole thing in the book where Shane has, as Ilia describes, boring fashion sense. And as he describes himself, pretty bland, mostly just athletic wear because that's like all he wears anyways, right? And so as it progresses further and further into the book, he's getting return one because of being a professional athlete with a bunch of sponsorships, but he also like owns multiple properties type thing. And so that's like a whole thing where he has a bunch of money and he still dresses like the boy in middle school who would wear basketball shorts out in the snow, right? Like that's the type of guy we're talking about here, right? And it's not until like the last 20 to 30% where he shows up actually somewhat fashionable, and Ilia, like, it's so shocking that Ilia points it out, right? And how otherwise he's like the pretty boy, and yet in this he's the pretty boy except for fashion. And then there's this part where he's going to a lunch, I think it is, with his parents, which his mother has more of a part in, which I like. She's more invested in his career in general, which makes sense. He's like only 18, 19, right? So that makes sense. But also, he shows up to this lunch and he's just wearing he's just wearing blue button up that is so wrinkled, and that wouldn't be a thing in a normal show. That's just a thing because that's his fashion sense. Like that's just a thing in the book, and it made me laugh. It made me go tee hee, because I clocked that and I was like, wow. Anyways, that's my thoughts and opinions. I burned my finger again, a different finger, and it hurts right now. And somebody wants my pizza, so I'm gonna go watch episode 2, and I'm gonna fear what I watch. And that's fine. That's fine. Listen, pizza's gone. I still have plenty of martini left. Bella has left me so I can no longer close her eyes. She's just laying in the middle of the floor over there. One, sound design, continued, asterisk, music. There's like 2 main spicy scenes, during this episode. One beginning, one at the end, right? And I believe, if I remember properly, here's the issue with me watching them back to back. I believe the first one is the first time they go all the way, right? And so it's like a romantic like song. It definitely felt more romantic in the show than it did in the book the first time they did that. Let me tell you, because they don't start getting romantic until a good like 50%, maybe more in the book. Right. Another thing is that in the show, it hints less at Ilia's family stuff to Shane. Shane's just worried because being in Russia not a good idea. He doesn't understand the whole family dynamic aspect yet, and so that's like a whole thing where he tries to like start conversation about family and whatnot, and Ilia's just there like, right. I'll be able to say that thing. Oh yeah, the other thing, I don't know what the hell the music was for the last Mexi scene in the episode, second one, last one, but that was an experience. And the other thing I want to bring up was one, Ilia's sexually leaning against a public bathroom hand dryer. Like, you know those automatic hand dryers? I don't know how you can sexually lean against one of those, but he did it. He did it. And the other thing is, if you quoted how many times I say, Ilia, you whore, or Shane, you whore. Mostly Ilia at this point. So far, I think, if you can't tell how many times I said it, I don't know what you get, but it's definitely been a lot of times. Anyways, I'm gonna go do dishes. That's the thing I have to do. And then I will watch episode 3. Oh, another thing is that other people know that I'm watching this now, right? And that I read the book, because they assumed I was going to read the book first, right? And so they asked me, because Kindle has a sale right now, so they were like, book 1 or 2? And I went, go with 2, don't do book 1. So, you know, there's that going on. You a cutie? I did just realize an issue with me watching it in here is that my dog because this whole all around is windows. She likes to bark when it's dark outside at anything, and the wind is gusting out there, so you would definitely hear it, and she's gonna start barking at some point, I swear. It's fine, everything's fine. Anyways, the moral of the story is, Ilya, you whore, and I'm gonna go do dishes. Do dishes. I swear I'm not drunk. I haven't even had half of this, and most of what I've had is very watered down with the ice. I swear. I just can't speak words, apparently. Good enough. There's a puppy here. I took like maybe one more sip of this in that time, maybe a little bit more. I'm contemplating. I'm at the point where it's like, do I save the rest of it for tomorrow night? Right? Just eat the olive and save the rest of it. I may do that actually. I ate one of the brownies, and let me tell you, I preferred the brownie to episode 3. Episode 3 is the Kip and Scott episode. It's only like 3/4 of the book though. That makes sense though. That makes sense because they do have to. The rest of the book would have been the kiss on the ice rink essentially. So it makes sense that they put as much of the book as they could in like one episode, and then do Shane and Ilya on the rocks a little bit, and then the kiss happens on the rink, and then Shane and Ilya try to go for it for realsies. I think the closer to the end of the season, from what I've heard, is more different from the book, so there's that. I liked the one episode more than the whole entire book of Game Changer. Reasoning, I think they expand, like, clearly it's only like 45 minutes of TV, right, instead of 400 pages of book, but I think they expanded it as in it's multiple months a time, and they haven't even said I love you yet in it, right? And they have said it in, I can't think of words, oh, they said it pretty early on in the book, so there's that whole aspect. Also, the side characters, kind of, prefer them in the show version. Like, a lot of Kip's friends, I had a little feeling, because most of them are either out gay people themselves or very supportive straight friends, and so they never really understood Scott's predicament and kind of just hated on Scott. Not really, but kind of an animosity for Scott for forcing Kip to be in the closet with him, blah, 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 blah. Which is a thing with, like, his one straight friend, right, does do this, and it's more blatant in the show, in one scene. But because it's, like, shrunken down so much, right, we get to see that around a bunch of, like, a sandwich between two very important scenes of Scott not being able to be in public. There's also a whole aspect where, like, they go out to a diner together at one point early on in the book, and they just don't do that. There's too much of a line, and it's too in public, so Scott's like, never mind, let's go to my place, and then they bang-a-lang. Also, I love how the Scott kept sexy very mid, especially in comparison to Ilya and Shane. I love that for me. Stay. I think I scared Ivy because she kerplunked right up against the stand that you're on, and so then it fell over, and now she's being very upset. She, like, ran out to the opposite side of the room. Now she's back underneath me. You're okay, you just can't lay right there. It's okay. Okay, we'll be. Anyways, I was gonna say, I did like the aspect, like, one moment of, like, there was, like, a glimpse of Shane on the TV during a game, but other than that, the main instance, and I kind of remember Scott getting in a fight during book 1, but I remember that's because someone says the F slur to him, and that's why he gets in the fight. In this show, he plays against Ilya in a round, and Ilya's there for, like, 5 seconds, but they don't really say anything to each other, and then he plays against Shane's team in a round, and as they're on the ice, right, Shane's kind of being nice, but also kind of being antagonistic at the same time, and Scott makes a joke of, you're taking after him, as in, is Ilya, and then they throw hands because of it, and that's really funny when you remember that in the first book, there's this whole aspect where, I think it's, like, halfway through the Heated Rivalry book in the timeline, post the kiss on the ice, they go out to a gay club, and Ilya goes as well, so that's, like, a whole thing, right? So that would have been, like, 70%, 3/4 of the way through the book. So that's funny. Also, I did see a joke that was, like, the one thing in all the books that they all have in common is all the hockey players. All the hockey players are in the closet, except somehow Ilya knows, and he's just there, and he's just he's just kind of surrounding all of the gay hockey players, just all somehow have a thing with Ilya. Anyways, I liked the actor who plays Scott. He did a pretty good job. I was trying to see if I knew him from anything, but I didn't. I think what it was is that his bone structure reminds me of the guy who plays Mr. Fantastic in the original Fantastic Four movies with Jessica Alba. You know, the early 2000s ones, the ones that I grew up on. Those ones I know him from, like, another thing that's just, like, a minor show that nobody watched except for me. In which he does have a little bit of a scruff 5 o'clock shadow type ear thing going on, and so because of that, they look slightly similar. And my brain just went, hey, remember this thing? Anyways, he did a good job. Kip's friends and family in general were better in the show, especially his dad. his mom exists in the book, but apparently not in the show. I didn't see her. But his dad's great in the show. Fucking love him. Third favorite character after Ilya's ass, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm not gonna go to bed. It's not even 10:30. Yeah, I'm gonna go take a bath for my chronic pain and read another gay book that doesn't have to do with this. The one I showed off right there, hilariously. And we will be back to watch a show tomorrow. And if I read all of The Long Game tomorrow, that's not my fault. I just hyperfixate on things sometimes. And this may be the thing I hyperfixate on instead of, doing all the other reading I need to do. Whoops. Food. Tonight's appetizer is, I say appetizer, it's dinner. It does not look appetizing. I swear it is. We got hash browns here. I cannot tip that plate, oh my god. Very hot hash browns there. And then this is an egg sandwich, open-faced egg sandwiches with eggs, hash brown, feta cheese, and kimchi. That's what's happening here. I could have put the eggs on top. Somebody's head is in the way, but when the eggs fell apart in the pan because everything was sticking weird tonight. So that happened, and then the hash browns aren't the best because they're like the bottom of the frozen bag of hash browns. So there's that aspect. And oh yeah, and then because the eggs got all effed up in the actual pan, the process of lifting the eggs with the hash browns underneath would have been annoying as fuck. So I went fuck it and just put them on top. So I'm going to be eating this. I just got my martini. And we're gonna watch the last 3 episodes. I'm excited, but I also fear what I'm about to watch. Can you? Does your head have to be right there? Oh, it does? Okay. It's just hash browns over there. You're not even the potato dog. The potato dog's being good and just sitting there. Somebody forgot to record after episode 4. Episode 4, really good. Okay, time for episode 5. The way it just hard cuts. Hilarious. Best episode so far. I mean, I haven't watched episode 6 yet, but, yeah. Ilya sexually drinking beer. Shane essentially being in Ilya's lap, straddling him as Ilya cries about his father. Right. Ilya being into Shane and his glasses. Right. I feel like I need to make a coherent thought, so, and hear me out. The female side characters in this, I prefer them more in the show. Rose was about the same amount of character, maybe a little bit more in the show because it's 6 hours versus 9.5, so they really just squished down a lot of it, right? And so I think she had about the same amount of character, who is an actress who Shane is briefly dating, and is the first person he ever comes out to as a gay man, and just ends up being his close confidant, right? And for Ilya, he has Svetlana, and she is like essentially in 2 sentences of the book, right? She's not a character in the book, and so I was intrigued when I saw in the cast, there was an actress for her in like the first 5 or something, and so I was like, ooh, maybe they'll do more with her character, and they did, and she's essentially the Russian version of Rose. For Ilya, he knows about him, but she also knows about his family, and all the dynamics there. They're like really close friends who used to be a thing, but they're just close friends who love each other deeply, and it's very sweet, and she's always there for him, and I love that. Other thing, I can't remember when exactly in the book we learn how Ilya's mother died. It hasn't happened yet. Anyways, this episode had me literally crying here, with the phone call after his father dies, and Ilya speaks Russian to Shane, knowing that Shane can't understand him. And the only thing that we know he says in the book is the first time he says "I love you" to Shane, right? But Shane doesn't know it because he can't speak Russian, right? And so that was like they had so much they could do in that. Let me tell you, they really went there, and I cried maybe a little bit. So I was crying over that, and then they were giving each other fuck me eyes. It was very it was very BBC Merlin, what was happening there on the ice right after that. It's like right after, and they're playing, and I knew, like, I read the book, I knew Shane gets hit, and it's a bad hit, but still I wasn't expecting it to be that so soon right after. Like, I didn't expect it to be like 2 minutes later. So then I was freaking out on the floor screaming, and then it was Scott Hunter winning the cup and kissing Kip on the ice, right? Which I get why they did a whole entire episode about their relationship, right? Like, it makes sense to do it because it made that scene more impactful, right? But like, I'm wondering if it would be better if it was split up throughout the show. But also that would make no sense because the show is a period of like 10+ years, right? Like, it's a good chunk of their lives that the show takes place during, and it jumps around a lot, jumps forward a lot, and so it would make no sense to have Scott and Kip sprinkled in there because Scott and Kip happened in like 2 months. So it makes sense to do it the way they did it because the way that it has to be set up for Ilya and Shane. But for actual TV enjoyment watching, it was less enjoyable just having a hard cut to Scott and Kip episode. That's kind of boring. that being said, I was jumping around screaming when he starts like he wins and he's picking up the trophy. And I'm like, oh my god, wait, what's happening next? The kiss is happening next, and so then and then he calls Kip down, and I start jumping up and down, and then the kiss on TV, and then and he calls Shane, and she's like, oh my god, and he's like, I'm going to the college, I'm doing it. Cut, hard cut right there, and Shane's like, oh. Anyways, I'm pretty sure the next episode is titled The Cottage or something like that. So I knew the next episode was gonna be The Cottage. That's gonna be exciting. I'm gonna watch them. I have so much smexy times again. Listen, the parts that get me are when they're emotionally bonded. And I love that. I did get a spoiler in between watching episodes when I was doing other things. I did get a spoiler for Game Changers book, in which when they tell people, this great thing in which they have been emotionally together for only a few months, and so when they start telling people, right, people are like, "How long have you been together?" Which is a thing in the end of Huge Rivalry when they tell Shane's parents, kind of when they have to explain how long they've been going at it. Right? But, so instead of saying that they've been dating for a couple months, because that is technically accurate, they just say 10 years, 11 years. And I find that very funny. I do want to read the book so bad, but I have to read other things. If I don't lose power tomorrow, there's a good chance I will read it tomorrow. Anyways, that's all my thoughts and opinions. This episode was so good. So good. I knew it was going to be good when Shane tells him the secret that the reason why his fashion sense is so much better. As Ilya is complaining about his fashion sense while wearing a Hawaiian t-shirt. Fucking iconic. Anyways, he tells Ilya the secret that he has better fashion because he got a, stylist. And then the way that Ilya smiled and laughed in that scene, oh my god. And then also the way that Shane watched Ilya playing with the kids in the pool. That was also cute. Anyways, this episode was just really fucking great. It's just a culmination of a lot of things. And so episode 6, I guess, is just gonna be them finally fully emotionally going for it, which is exciting. Hi, puppies. I have to do dishes first, so I'm gonna go do dishes, and I'm gonna watch episode 6. Very exciting. What time is it? It is 9:30. Let's go. I'm gonna go do that, and I will talk to you in like an hour. Yes, I am drinking Dr. Pepper at 10:30 p.m. There's like a 2 dog on this couch. That's fine. Ivy did a run jump up here. She backed up slowly. I was like, oh, what's wrong? And then she did a run jump up here. Oh my god. That was wild. And anyways, I watched the last episode. Before I talk about the fact that I cried again, what I said about Sylvania and Rose, continue with Shane's mother. Essentially, the show gave all 3 of the female side characters actual parts in the show, in which, most importantly, throughout the whole entire show, she seems to be more like a manager mom type thing, right? And then, in the very end of the last episode, when he's coming out, right, they have a very sweet moment outside, and it was very sweet, and I was squeaking, and I almost cried. That's not the part that made me cry, but it almost made me cry. Again, so that was great. Ilya eating pasta was great. That was mood. That was mood. I've never felt or seen. Oh my god. At least he's bisexual, so it makes sense for me. Anyways, now I want pasta. I shouldn't make pasta. I shouldn't. Brain, no making pasta at 10:30 p.m. in a windstorm. Other things I appreciated, I meant to bring up. One, there's I think I brought up last night, the wrinkling blue button-up shirt that Shane wears. At one point, he wears it multiple times throughout the show. Like, it just seems like the nicest shirt he had beforehand, and then it becomes, after he gets, like, a new sense of style, right, it becomes, like, more of his everyday type wear situation. But there's, like, 3 or 4 days in the show that he's wearing the shirt, which I appreciated. Another thing I appreciated, because this is a thing that I was thinking about earlier today, about how in TV shows and movies, people are just walking around their houses wearing shoes. And not my house. I say that, but my mother does it all the fucking time. And I'm the one who has to clean it up every time when she gets mud all over the kitchen floor. Don't talk to me, I still gotta clean. The last time, it's just like, it keeps on snowing, and it just makes it worse. I live on a dirt road, it's just gonna be a constant issue, so like, what's the point, right? But, I was thinking about that earlier today, and there's a point, and I think, it may have been episode, I think it was episode 4, when Shane goes to Ilya's place, and he asks if he should take his shoes off. Which it makes sense for an Asian character to say that, because I know that's more of a thing in Asian culture, is having specific inside shoes and whatnot. So that, like, kind of makes sense, right? In my brain. But, like, he asks Ilya, and then Ilya says, no, you're okay, right? And then, in this episode, when Ilya arrives at the cottage, when they get to the cottage, you can, like, see, like, you only get, like, this much up of Ilya, but you can see him going through the actors in here. The sound design in the show, oh my god. I know I talked about it earlier, but oh my god. Anyways, you can, like, see and hear the actions of him taking off his shoes as he enters his house. Anyways, that's something I appreciated, just right about fact. Anyways, other things, the loon scene was hilarious. Listen, I thought that was funny when I read it. It was funnier seeing them act it out. Oh my god, that was so funny. What Shane did the loon call? Apparently every time I film here, it has to fall at least once, it's fine. Anyways, that was funny. And then, it was good. It was great. Show good, show great. It was, yeah. Did I squeak and say, oh my god, when they did I Love You for the first time? Yes, yes, I did. You know what? I'm about to say something, despite the fact that a lot of the second half of the season was whenever it'd be sexy time scenes, it would be like either a montage or you get the gist of what's happening and it cut to black, right? Which is not the fact for the first 3 episodes, right? And so all I'm saying is you did all of that and I don't get to see him really eating out his ass. Okay, fine. I see how it is. Anyways, because I want to see more of his ass. Apparently, I don't. It's ingrained in my brain. Oh my god. Anyways, that's just a random thing that I thought of. Anyways, the part that made me cry was the part where after he brought his mom. I guess he did. I guess it was after the cottage. After the cottage, it is when they talk about Ilya's mom. But they're making plans for the future and they're making plans for the charity. And Shane eventually gets the idea to do suicide prevention because that's how Ilya's mom died, right? And Alien just says she would have loved you like I love you. And it was so sweet, and I did cry. I'm tearing up thinking about it. Anyways, these whores made me cry twice. How the fuck dare they? It's not okay. I'd like compensation. First I had to see your butts multiple times, but then this? Ugh, honestly. Anyways, I was surprised when it was over. Like, honestly, I get it because, yeah, that's when the book itself ends, and then there's an epilogue that's like about a year later, which is them starting the charity, right? And it makes sense, because, like, clearly, because of how it constantly jumps forward in time, it makes sense with it already being confirmed for season 2 and whatnot. It makes sense. Like, I get why we didn't get the epilogue in this season. And all that jazz. But, so I like, it made sense why it was done like that, but it still shocked me. I was like, oh, it's over. Like, they get back in the car, and then it's just them being sweet and handholdy and whatnot, and touchy in the car on the back to his condo, or cottage, on the way back to his cottage, they're, like, holding hands and, like, stroking each other's arms and whatnot for the whole entire time that the credits are playing, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense the epilogue's not in this, but I was still surprised. Anyways, show good. I get it. I get the hype. I really needed to not become my whole personality, at least for a few more days. I really think it would be great if that happened. Thanks. I really want to go read Game Changers, but I have to read other books. Blame my library card. Blame past me. Library card, book borrowing me is different than me actively wanting to read what I want to read me. So, yeah, there's that. Anyways, I'll try to make room tomorrow to read it, at least half of it. First book mid, second book great, show great. I get why episode 3 was like that, but it still was so slow. Oh my god, it's so cold in here. My nose won't stop running. Oh, I know what else I want to bring up. Is the fact that I, in case you don't know, am the type of bitch who will watch everything at 2 to 3 times speed. Like, shows, even the first time watching them, I will watch at 2 times speed. And YouTube, I watch at 3 times speed. Like, I am that type of bitch. Episode 3, I did speed up to 2 times speed. I will say that. But the rest of the show, I watched at normal speed. And it didn't feel slow. In fact, the opposite. Like, I would be surprised when the episode was already done. Like, that's how good this show is. Like, I get why it's popular. It's a gay hockey show in which we get to see 2 men be into each other, and it's not, like, just constant gays going through traumatic things. It's just 2 guys being in a relationship, right? Over a long period of time, right? So it's like, we get to see that. But also, it's also just good. Like, the production, like, I've talked about the same sound design multiple times. The music for the show was good. Everything I've seen about the showrunner, he seems like a great guy. Like, there was a whole thing about, I saw recently, because I'm gonna go into this whole spiel about, how this is a gay romance written by a straight Navy woman. There's, like, contradictory things I've seen about that aspect, brought up, which she has come out and said, that's not what's important, right? Because what's important is that these are a gay and bisexual man. And I am neither a gay man or a bisexual man, which was going to be my whole thing. It was going to be like a 30-minute segment in which I basically explain that and then give a bunch of author recommendations or something. And then I didn't because I felt awkward doing that. Like, that's not generally the type of thing I do. I don't know what's happened to me, though, because it seemed to be a thing I'm more into doing in the past 2 months. But also, in a thing similar to that, apparently interviewers tried to ask the actors what their sexuality is, right? And the showrunner, whenever that happens, stops them. And I think stops the interviewer and takes over, right? But also I think the actor who is Scott Hunter brought up the whole Kit Connor debacle, and how he was forced to come out by the audience. And, so, like, I as far as I know, I really like everybody behind the camera. The production is good. Everything's good. All the men butts I've seen is good. the writing was good. They clearly read the book, right? Books. There's also like the fact I feel like Hudson is the actor for Shane, right? That's right. I don't know the actor who plays Ilya, his name off the top of my head, but the whole entire Russian monologue he had to do in episode 5 was really well done. I don't know enough Russian to tell if he did it really good, but I 100% believed him and I was crying. So like that was well done. And he's American, like all this stuff. It's just so good. It's a gay show that doesn't hide the fact that it's a very gay show, but also just a really good show. And you know what? I love that for us as a society. I'm gonna go to bed soon. It's actually almost my bedtime. I also have to close up in here. We're in the middle of a winter storm. I should not be in here. This is the second coldest room in the house. I should not be in here. I just continue to come in here because I thought it'd be fun to watch on the TV some more. Anyways, this has been fun. I will see you, I guess, when I read Game Changers and tell you my thoughts and opinions on that. On my little gays, my baby gays. I love them so much. Hello, hi, I'm updating you instead of making dinner right now, and then watching a different show in there. I did just learn there's a Godzilla show on Apple TV. Apple TV needs, their marketing department needs to figure something out. Because why did I just learn the show is a thing a month before season 2? Anyways, I have access to Apple TV now, so I'm gonna watch that. From the same person who made us want to watch Rivalry. Anyways, I'm about halfway through. Wait, let me check. I can see 45%. I'm 45% through the long game, and I was not gonna do a mid update. There's already so many clips, but I decided I'm gonna update now because I just big brained it in my brain on why this one isn't hitting as much. My first comparison was gonna be Junkie by. You know what? It'd be great if I actually looked up the book that I want to talk about for comparison, which is The Main Gay Sports Cambria Ever. It's hashtag technically. I still hate the fact that there's hashtags in the name. But the comparison of the, I think, only other gay sports romance I read, their race car driving, right? And so it's like the second one in that for me. And I clocked, like I was able to appropriately clock why I'm not liking the long game as much as Heated Rivalry because of the similarities, which is essentially the second one of that one. The first one was them getting together, and the second one was just them being together. Right? Which is essentially this one. Like, the first one was 10 years of slow burn until they finally emotionally get together, right? The second one is them mostly being together, but also, that was gonna be my main comparison, blah, 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 right? But then I had a big brain thought. There is, like, other background stuff happening, like, Ilya dealing with mental health. Also, I really need, Shane's all like, I think you're depressed, I want you to see somebody. I need Shane to see somebody. I've seen the comments about Shane possibly being neurodivergent, so this could explain it, but he's giving so much anxiety. Listen, you know what it's giving? It's giving neurodivergent, and he doesn't want to get it wrong, right? And so then he overcorrects so much, and it's in like an anxious spiral of constant talking, right? And that's what Shane's doing. But also there's this whole aspect where Ilya wants to be out and wants to be like Shane's out, but he isn't, and he can't be out as bisexual, and he just wants to be with his boyfriend. Well, Shane cares. It seems to him care more about the sport. Blah 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 blah. Basically, my big brain thought is that the first one, the hockey wasn't really a thing. I'm gonna be honest. I started comparing it to the other gay hockey books I read, and then I went, there's like 2% hockey in this. The hockey was just the setup for their dynamic to make the burn so much better, right? In the first one. The second one is the thing that's tearing them apart. It's tearing them apart, Lisa. I thought of it, and then I thought of the room meme, and here we are. Anyways, you know, it's like they're both personally dealing with stuff, but then on top of that, there's a whole aspect where, there's even at one point, I'm low-key gonna spoil it here, but there's a point where the head of the NHL calls Shane to his office. Like, he's like not out, but he's like out to all his teammates and whoever asks him type thing, right? And so somehow got word to him, and he starts saying, he says, and I quote, I don't know if you're a homosexual, but if you are, don't tell me. It's like one of those things where it's like, don't tell me, we're gonna hide it. You know how the military used to be. Apparently, the hockey in the military. Right. We're like, you can't tell me because like Scott Hunter is great at all. And like look at all this queer merch we do, but also though he says LGBTQIA, but like in a way where it's hard for him to say it. But like they sell all this merch now, but they don't actually give it to charities. Which Shane feels a little icky about. It's basically him feeling very icky about this whole entire situation where essentially the big head of NHL is like, don't come out at all, right? Or it could like affect you, and if you do come out, we have to be in charge of it. We have to be in charge of it this time. It's like this whole aspect. There's a whole thing where Ilya, because he changed teams so that he could be closer year round to Shane, he's not on like an award-winning team anymore. They barely get goals at all, and most of the goals they do get is him, right? And so he's not feeling excited by the sport anymore. So the only other main thing he has in his life is Shane. But Shane is full-on sports boy, never felt disheartened by hockey before in his life. That's like a whole thing. And then he's also dealing with trauma of his mother's death. He keeps on having nightmares because of that and all this stuff. And he feels distant from Russia, like his only Russian friend in America he hasn't been talking to as much, like all this stuff. And then Shane has like Rose and Hayden and his teammates, and he's openly gay, and he's on an award-winning hockey team. He's won the cup 3 times, like all this stuff. So it's like hockey's kind of one of the many things in the way, but it's a big thing in the way, and that means that hockey has to be a big part of this book, and I don't like hockey. Oh my god. I say that. I have seen hockey live. I don't know if I mentioned that. I have seen hockey live. I do like, for the kids sports, training they do, some of the coaches are people who don't really play hockey anymore, for whatever reasons. One of them has, like, anxiety, and he is also gay, and has a boyfriend who is very flamboyantly gay, so it's, like, complete opposite to, like, typical gay men either of them know, because they're around hockey players all the time. And then, there's also a trans man, stuff like that. This one also seems to be very much more, about mental health in general, so that's a fun time. Anyway, what I'm saying is this one's just sad. So it's just sad. I just want my gays to be happy. I want my fruits to just be kids and be happy. And sometimes I get those moments. But most of the time, it's one of them feeling awkward about their own relationship because the distance between them, because it's stupid hockey. And I don't like hockey. So I'm just pissed at hockey. Which is a pissed at a sport for these fictional characters not to be full-heartedly together. And being able to be happy. Even though I do think Ilya really does need therapy. I'm very proud of him for going to therapy. Let's go, Ilya. Anyways, that's my thoughts. I'm going to finish it tomorrow, probably. I was going to try to read the whole thing today, and then I realized I have a bunch of stuff that I have to do tomorrow that can be done while listening to audiobooks. So it just makes sense for me to do it tomorrow. You're cute. I'm gonna go make my dinner and then go watch a Godzilla TV show that I never knew about. Goodbye. Hello, hi. My computer's waking up, so it's loud. And so am I. I haven't even had a sip of coffee yet. I'm still wearing my pajamas underneath this. Life happened. That's one phrase for it. Yeah, the day that I was gonna finish Long Game, there was an accident and my mother died. So, as you can imagine, I took a pause from reading it. Not from reading in general, just it, because, a lot of the book is Ilya's mental health, especially with connection with his mother, finding her body, and also the fact that she had depression and he may have depression and all that stuff. And trying to find joy in life, despite the fact that he has everything that, like, he would ever want in life. Like, he's got good friends, he's on a hockey team that's getting better, he's got a boyfriend who he loves and loves him, right? He's not having to deal with his crazy family anymore, but he's still depressed. We love that he goes to therapy. I do like how he goes into therapy in this one. I don't remember what year did. I have stats. I don't know, actually, what year Rivalry came out, but, like, that takes place starting, like, 2008 or something. This one takes place over 10 years later. Like, this is, like, post-2018. Like, this is post-Obama being president, canonically. So, like, it makes sense for him to go to therapy, right? Because therapy's more accessible. Also, I have to remember, they're both, like, millionaires. So, like, he can afford good therapy. Also finding therapy in America is easier. He does manage to find one in Canada that is a Russian woman, so that, like, he doesn't have to, when he can speak in Russian, doesn't have to deal with translating anything, because, like, when he's hyper emotional, it's harder for him to do that, which is, like, valid. And then also, it doesn't say this, but I imagine the cultural aspect, especially as a bisexual man in a relationship with another man, right? And being from a country where that you wouldn't be safe if that came out, right? I can understand why the cultural aspect is another reason why she'd be a good reason, right, to be your therapist. Anyways, that whole aspect, I knew was gonna be hyper emotional, and I'm scared to watch season 2 because of that. Like, in all seriousness, I fear. I think. Okay, wait. I've watched enough edits of the fucking show and also of their interviews, so I know Hudson is Jane and Connor is Ilya, I believe. I don't know if I brought this up recently, but he had like 2 weeks to learn Russian. What's he on? I mean, he speaks the show's version of Russian. Like, he can't, like, he could hold probably a minor conversation with an actual Russian person, but I don't think he could do, like, a full-on conversation because he doesn't know, like, every word and everything, obviously. Anyways, he talked about how he was excited for season 2 because Long Game is his favorite of the books. And he's, like, so excited to film some of those scenes. I need to question, is he okay? Meanwhile, Hudson's like, oh yeah, my favorite scene that's gonna be filmed is when the commissioner is there and I get to punch him in the face. And the actor's not gonna know what's gonna happen, I'm just gonna do it. And I'm like, that is not a shame thing to do, but that is also very valid. Oh, fuck that homosexual bitch. Or homophobic bitch, that's what I mean. My brain's not working, I haven't had coffee yet. I meant to take a sip. Also, I need to get out files and send them to people instead of doing this. At 8:23 a.m. Anyways, that is funny. Fuck the commissioner so much. Another reason why I didn't want to read it right away is because as somebody who has experience with being outed and generally does not like books with that. Like, I have DNF books that were really well done, but then I learned halfway through, this is before I used Storygraph. People would be reading it, I would be like reading a book or something, people would bring it up, that outing was gonna happen, and I just put down the book and never pick it back up. Ace of Spades is one of those. I know that's a good book. I read like 5 pages and then somebody informed me that one of the characters is outed and I went, no. I can't do this. That being said, outing was in the content warnings for this one, so I like mentally prepared myself, but then after everything, I didn't want to read that. I think the reason why it didn't completely rock me was the fact that it was accidental. So that's fun. Also, the fact that they already had a plan. It's very similar to a heated rivalry like that, where like they have a plan to tell people close to them, blah blah blah, and then Shane's dad catches them. But in this one, it's they have a plan of when they're gonna come out, and say that they've been in a relationship this whole time and that they're getting married, and then like 3 months prior to that or something, I don't know the timeline. There's accidental recording of them in the background of somebody else's video that gets posted all over the place. Other things. I am pretty sure this takes place at the same time as all the other books between Heated Rivalry and this one. I still can't do my L's. We're ignoring that. Because I remember reading the synopses of them, and there was one about a guy who had feelings for the social media manager or something like that, right? And that whole relationship is just a thing in the background. Like, he's on Ilya's team, and they're friendly. He comes out to Ilya, and then Ilya's like, go for her, and like you can see that he's into him, and they eventually do, and they come out to everybody, type thing. It's kind of similar to Scott in this, so that's fun. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say. The other things important that I want to say is that Ilya's the bisexual representation I needed. Listen, me and Ilya are a different level of crazy hypersexual bisexuals. What do you mean he needs to get off at least a couple times a day? Like, he just... Anyways, the things that we do, the ways that he is my representation. Love for dogs. Me too, bitch. I feel like we could be friends because, like, love for dogs. He could just speak Russian at me, and it would force me to actually actively learn Russian. Because, like, I'm trying, but I'm doing bare minimum trying. I feel like in that situation, I would have to be forced to put all my practice into actual work. And then I'd get better at it. So that's benefit. And then he has somebody to talk Russian to. We love that. 3, his favorite food is chicken parmesan. And I need you to know, you very tall Russian man, I have perfected my chicken parm recipe in the past month. Come on over. I make my own marinara sauce. I'm crazy like that. Come on over. I can make it for you anytime you want. I make my own chicken parm. Okay? Anyways, I love how he canonically loves pasta in any form. That's such a big mood. Anyways, they're cute. I was stressed. The only point made me cry was at the wedding at the end. So, you know, that's great. And so I assume the one that's coming out later this year is, like, I assume that was gonna be the one when they're, like, together forever, but they're already together forever. That one's gonna be, maybe they try to adopt, because they already talked about wanting to have children multiple times. And he got a dog, Ilya did. I think the next one will probably be them having to deal with the fact that they're both out as in a relationship this whole time. And there's, like, a lot of people who are like, oh my god, have you, like, been secretly doing things to make the other one win or whatever, by some people. Not many, but some. And then there's also stuff with the teams that I'm not gonna spoil. That whole aspect with the two of them, that will be interesting. Can it just be like them being happy? I want them to be happy. Anyways, that's this whole video. With this horrible lighting and my computer being loud. I'm gonna go drink my coffee. Oh hi, I guess who forgot to tell you what I rated the fucking book. I was putting it in my tracker and that's what I remembered. So we're gonna do this really fast. And I was gonna cut back to the outro. Of course, Game Changer, I did 2.5. Heated Rivalry was 4.5. The show was, I think, a 9 out of 10. That show was too good. The Long Game is a 4 just because of personal preferences when it came to my romances. But I still loved it. Like, it made me feel all the emotions and whatnot. Anyways, I'm gonna go download all the clips for this. So my phone stops yelling at me that I'm taking up too much storage. Goodbye. I filed this paper for my sister. And video stuff. Wednesdays are video. Those I do have scheduled all the way through most of February. Thank goodness. So, if you watch those, that is Quarantine Zone. I gave a second presentation. The first half of it, this book I was, Long Game. I was listening while I was playing that. So, second half I was reading at 3 a.m. Don't ask. That's what I was doing. That's why I'm tired. And then, besides, I want to do book videos like this. I do have scheduled. I'm not gonna keep up with it because it took a lot of work to get the schedule the way I like it for the next month and a half. I don't know what's happening for anything for the next forever. So who knows? If it is as planned, it will be video which I read books on during time. Fine. And then if not, it'll be reading. I do have some of those free done still. Thankfully, that's everything. I'm gonna go. All the flow is my Twitch. If you want to see me read, I think I was reading Rivalry at one point on stream. Which was an experience, I tell you. I remember sitting here and my face was on camera. I was like, about some of the stuff. So that's fun. Also, I'm going to start probably by the time this you'll have to start crossing both YouTube and Twitch. So if you don't want to go all the way to Twitch to watch me stream and read books and get work done and read at the same time, remember, you won't be able to use the Tesla so you can watch on YouTube and it'll be a video after we're going to do this. That's everything. I'm going to go over this coffee. And that's my sister. Goodbye.